Shalom, Israel. Okay, so today I'm gonna be doing a tutorial on auxiliary busing. It's either called auxiliary tracks, auxiliary input, output, or busing, right? So pretty much the idea is to take like how it was explained to me in school was you have a like if you ever rode a school bus, you have one child and they get on the bus to go to another location. That's what busing is, right? So the bus is essentially like I'll do to like delay, reverb, even distortion, any type of filter. The busing allows me to control more of the effect versus having the effect on or the plugin on the vocal track. All right. So what happens is when you first start recording, you might have a vocal track, right? And you'll put the plugin on the vocal track. You don't want to do that. All right. It's cool for when you first start, but to have more control of that plugin, you actually will want to do a bus. It's also more professional, one. Then two, it's more professional, especially when you send it to a mixing engineer. There's nothing less that I like as a mixing engineer than to have somebody send to me a vocal track with the reverb on it or with the delay. That's one of my pet peeves. I hate that like as much as the Most High hates sin. All right. So, anyways, so I'll show y'all that. So this is a track that I'm just working on for Nayama. I just have a raw vocal signal.
You got hatred for your brothers, so you hold grudges against your brother.
If you notice, you can hear a little bit of the room in the vocal, right? That's not too bad if it's not over a medium amount. If it's small to medium, it's fine. But if you have a large amount of the room and it's just an issue recording, that's a freaking no-no. You don't want to do that, all right? But what'll happen is if you have about small to medium size of room, if you add a reverb onto like an auxiliary bus track, it'll actually disguise the room within the reverb sound. Honestly, as y'all can see, this is actually my studio. I have my living room, my what's supposed to be my dining area, my living room behind me, and my kitchen. This is literally how I record. I've recorded like this like pretty much for years in like awkward recording environments. All I do is that's why I add a lot of delays and a lot of reverbs. Number one, because I like the sound, but then number two, because it helps me to disguise my recording environment. All right. So this is what happens when you put a reverb on. A plug-in on the track, right? So let's just hear it.
You got hatred for your brother.
The problem that we have is you have two choices. You have wet, which is a full-on reverb or delay or whatever plugin you're using, and then you have dry, which is a full-on just dry vocal signal, like the original vocal signal. What happens is you can only control up from 0 to 100%, meaning you can only control what's like a little bit, right? We don't want that. We want a dry signal going into a wet signal. All right. So this.
You got hatred for your brothers, so you hold grudges.
This is cool, but the issue is you don't want to mix this. You do not want to mix this. Number one, it will irk you. Number two, there's so many variables with having a reverb or a delay signal on the vocal already. You don't want that. You want to have the option of having a dry vocal and then a wet vocal. You want to have those two options, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this off, okay? And we're going to create a stereo reverb track, okay? Now look, I'm not telling you exactly how you need to mix. I'm giving you a basis of this is what you should and should not do. From there, creativity is yours to play with, okay? So I'm a stereo auxiliary or stereo bus for my reverb because reverb, it has a better sound when it's in stereo versus in mono. It has a cool sound. It can achieve a desired effect, but it's better in stereo. I love reverb in stereo. I've tried reverb in mono. It is what it is, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my sends channel, okay, and I'm gonna create a bus in 1 through 2 because 1 and 2 is stereo. 1 is mono, 2 is stereo, okay? So I choose 1 to 2. In my input of my bus track, I choose bus 1, 2 because what I'm doing is I'm sending, remember, we're taking the child from the house to the bus into the master channel, all right, or like the school, right? So my send goes to bus 1 through 2. My input of my auxiliary is bus 1 to 2. And then, of course, your output is whatever you have as your master channel. All right. So what happens is you have this. This right here is my volume control for my send. All right. So I'm going to go to auxiliary 1. I'm going to name it verb. I'm going to select a reverb that I like. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. When I use Pro Tools, I usually use the stock plugins as far as effects. Like my delays and my reverbs, I use Deverb and Mod Delay. Those are straight stock plugins for effects. Okay, if I had a choice, like really, I would actually like to use the Verb Suite Classic. That's an amazing reverb, hands freaking down. That's a dope reverb. But anyways, so I go and choose the Deverb stereo, right? Let's see here. So remember, what you want to do is you want to turn the gain all the way up to 0. Then you want to keep the signal as a full-on wet signal. All right, decay. That's how long that the signal drags out. That's how long that reverb stays. So you have 4.5 seconds. Sorry, you have 400 milliseconds all the way up to infinite or 66.1 seconds. However you get creative, that's how you do. But I'm going to stick with the 4.5 just to show y'all what I'm doing. So, yeah.
You got hatred for your brothers.
Oh, and then also make sure you choose pre. You can do post, but that messes with the volume, and I don't like that. I like pre because it allows me. What happens is with the pre, you're utilizing the volume of the send, whereas with post, you're utilizing the volume of the raw vocal track. Okay, it'll affect that. I just want to affect the send to the reverb. Okay.
You got hatred for your brothers, so you hold grudges against your brother. Get that pride out the way, dawg. Get that pride out your mind, dawg. Wake up.
So as you see, it's a raw signal, but I'm able to turn up and down the wet signal for the auxiliary bus channel, right? This allows me to do all kinds of things. Like, so for example, with reverb, I can do subtractive EQing on a reverb. Like I can take this down a couple notches. So then I can go to EQ. I can add a 7-band EQ and mess with the subtractive EQing because there might be a bad signal in the reverb. I can add more delays. More reverbs, or I can add a delay. I can do so many things by making an auxiliary bus channel. Even compression. I can go to dynamics and choose my compression that I want to use or whatever you want to do, right? So that's your verb, okay? That's your reverb. So then for delays, I'm going to make a mono. And the only time I really use a stereo delay is if I want to either have two different notes. Like say I want to have a half note and an eighth note on the left and the right. Or say I want to have an eighth note and a quarter note. That's when I would make a specific stereo delay. If I want to do a ping pong delay, which is where it'll go left, right, I can select mono and then create a mono to stereo delay. But I always run my delays in mono. I keep it in mono. That's because I like my delays to usually be straight up in the middle. Or what I can do is make it go to the right, make it go to the left. I can get real funky with it. Okay, so I go to auxiliary input. I keep the channel as mono. Then I create. I'm gonna name this delay. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a send, and that send is not gonna be in stereo, which would be the 2 tracks. It would be in 1 track, which is mono. So I choose 3, 4. I choose 3. Okay, choose 3 on the send. On my output, on my input of my delay channel, I'm gonna choose I'm gonna choose that send channel, which is 3. Okay. So then what happens is you get this. Oh, and then remember, choose pre, especially with delays. It works really good with delays.
You got hatred for your brother.
So I'm gonna choose my delay. Like I said, I use the stock delays. I can use all kinds of delays. I have the real tape delay. I really honestly, I like the mod delay. H delay is good. It's not a bad delay, but the mod delay is just clutch. Usually your stock plugins are actually more clutch than you think that they are. The other plugins like the waves and things like that, they just look more professional and just cool. But honestly, if you can master the stock plugins, you can actually master any plugin that comes to you because you've understood the basics, right? So I keep it on pre now. So then I have my different notes. Okay, these are my different notes, and these different notes are gonna delay different times. Okay, so you have, I'll show you this. So I'm gonna put it right here.
You got hatred for your brothers, so you hold grudges against your brothers.
So I remember, I'll be honest with y'all, I don't remember the exact note which everything is. I just know what I like. I just know that the further up I go, it speeds up. The further down I go, it slows down. So I know that this is a full note right here.
You got hatred for your brother. You got hatred for your brother. So you hold grudges against your brother. So you hold grudges against your brother.
Then I have the next level up, which would be, actually I can check it right here. So the next level up from a full would be a half, then a quarter, then an eighth, 16th, 32, 64th. So all this is gonna do is speed up your delay.
You got hatred for your brothers. So you hold grudges against your brother.
Or this one.
You got hatred for your brothers. So you hold grudges against your brother.
See how the delays are speeding up, right? And then I'm able to control it with my send signal.
You got hatred for your brothers.
So all the way down, you can't hear nothing.
So you hold grudges against your brother. Get that pride out the way, dog.
And then you have your feedback, which that goes into how long the signal lasts. You have your low pass frequency, which starts from 20 kilohertz or 20,000 hertz all the way down to 10 hertz. So it starts at 20 kilohertz. It goes all the way down to 10 hertz. You have your groove. Your groove is what is it. Say, for example, you have a half note. It's going to be in that half note, but then you're going to be able to move it very delicately in between that half note and the next note, okay? This is my delay, like my milliseconds. So this right here takes it out of the sync mode, which is, quarter, half, eighth, right? And what it does is it allows me to directly control the exact milliseconds of a delay, all right? And the reason why I said use your auxiliary busing is because now I can do all kinds of things. Like I can send this to my reverb auxiliary or reverb bus track like this. Go to 1 through 2. Now I'm actually sending my delay signal into a reverb signal. You have so much more control. There's so much more things that you can do. Check this.
You got hatred for your brothers. So you hold grudges against your brother. Get that pride out the way, dog. Get that pride out your mind, dog. Wake up. Repentance is the key. Won't forget.
So if you notice, now I have my delay going into my reverb channel. It's so much stuff I can do. I can add a filter. I can add a filter to this delay like this. Let's see. I can add a flange filter to my delay.
You got hatred for your brothers, so you hold grudges against your brother. Get that pride out the way, though. Get that pride out the way,
like you now can do so much more stuff with doing auxiliary buses, and you've now become a more professional recording engineer. Okay, so remember, auxiliary buses, use them, and shoot, use them however you want to. I'm just showing you the basis so that you can be able to create and be on a level with professional mixing and recording engineers. However you create is how you do. I don't care as long as it sounds good. But remember, auxiliary buses, reverb, delay, any modulation, just make sure you use auxiliary buses.